name is Judith Reidy, and you are at the Creative Zone. Today, I have a special guest for you, and his name is artist Troy Tatlock, a painter I have known for many years and whose growth I have had the privilege to watch firsthand. Over time, I've seen Troy rise through the ranks of plein air painting competitions across the country, consistently winning awards and placing in top events. His work continues to draw national attention, earning him invitations to some of the most respected plein air festivals in the U.S., from Easton, Maryland to Dubuque to Door County, Wisconsin. Troy trained at the Milwaukee Institute of Art and Design, studying under Ron Biddix, Jill Sebastian, Waldeck Dinerman, Paul Castor, and Terence Kaufman. Eventually, he found his passion painting directly from life, capturing the energy of the moment and channeling it into dynamic, immediate, and deeply felt work. We are not only going to see some of Troy's work, but we are going to hear directly from the artist what motivates his work. I'm excited to present to you Troy Tatlock. Tell me a little bit about how you started painting and why you paint and that sort of stuff.
Well, as a child, like many of us, I drew and drew and drew on my desk, drew on all my notebooks, drew on my arms, ran out of paper, kept going, got in trouble, and a very wonderful teacher, when I was going to be punished, took me aside, and instead of punishing me after school, gave me art lessons. That was fourth grade. That was the wonderful Mrs. Wilson. So that's when someone said, instead of punishment, let's teach, and she wanted to make sure it's clear that the rest of the school thought I was being miserably punished and being tortured in the fourth grade. And that was Edward Allen grade school in Arlington Heights, Illinois. But I drew all before then. But she was the first to say, let's give you a little bit of formal training. That was about as much formal training as I got in the end. No, it's not true. Plein air. I went to the Milwaukee Institute of Art and Design, but I worked for the Milwaukee Journal, and I would work third shift, and many times I got overtime, so I was late getting to school. But I had my art supplies. I would sleep at this park and ride that wasn't far from the Milwaukee Zoo. And so I would wake up late to school, or I would work third shift and got overtime. And by the time I wasn't going to make it to class on time, and I didn't want to go trekking through to, with the models and figure drawing and all that stuff. Terence Kaufman so I would go to the zoo and draw. So that's really kind of where, I probably did it before, but that's where I painted outside. I didn't think of it as plein air because I was trekking in and out of there doing whatever, polar bears, drawing the great apes that are there. Wonderful zoo. And I actually did show that work to Mark Mohern. Did I get his name right? But anyway, and I did as an equivalent to what I was doing when I was going to art school. Fast forward to that, I was playing soccer, and I was traveling all over on this, because we played all over Southeast Wisconsin, playing soccer. So I had become a art gallery frame shop. So I kind of lost my studio space because it was all converted into mat cutter goes here, the chopper goes here, the saws go here. And it's like, I don't really have a studio now. And that, but a girlfriend at the time brought me a field easel and said, there, your studio's everywhere. And sure enough, I found myself painting before the soccer games. I'd always play soccer smelling like turpentine. And that's when I and I loved it. I loved doing it. I was kind of, I didn't think of it as my art that I was going to do what I thought I was going to do as an artist for my life. You know, it was more abstract expressionism, uh, kinetic wheels, burning wax stuff. You know, the things you thought about
like
in
more
school.
abstract things.
I enjoy those issues. To me, it's another kind of realism, but I liked to get out and paint because I still loved nature. I was a 4-H'er. I was a Boy Scout, failed Boy Scout, but a really good 4-H'er. And so I did do that. And then fast forward again, when I had the gallery, in walks some of the plein air painters, Wendy Thompson, you know, for Wisconsin Nights. That's how I met you. This is how I met Thomas Bukes. This is how I met Lauren Wiley. And those people, at Paul Schultz, trying to remember some of the artists from the Griffin Gallery, and in my gallery. So then that's when I started to do events. And I was doing them more to promote my business than to win them or whatever. I thought it was a little bit of a grandma sport, you know, because like, oh, this is where grandmas go out and paint.
Sometimes it might be.
Some of those grandmas are what I call grandmas. Now that I'm at it, were some of the best artists I've ever known. Now that I know them better, but Jen Norsetter. And that's how I got wrapped into the plein air. Then I started to enter the shows and the circuit in Wisconsin, and they started giving me ribbons and checks, and I said, "Oh, okay." So that's how I started doing this.
But okay, so you like nature. You like nature. But I look at some of your paintings, and they have a lot of cyclone fences in them.
Well,
why are you drawn to cyclone fences?
Damn it, I do that.
I'm asking you, you know.
First of all, well, one idea here is that man is nature, if I can steal from, I think, Jackson Pollock. So this stuff, you know, you see a chain link fence. Well, there's other reasons why I do chain link fences, but I could also argue that it's no different than a spider web, that it's no different than a beaver hut. What man makes is not that far away. I did get to a point where I was a little cynical of the kind of idealism that I saw in a lot of plein air, where they filtered out everything man-made in order to create that river runs through it. You know, to make this idea of purity that to me was, it exists because you get out there in Wisconsin and you go, oh my God, these paintings are real. This is part of Wisconsin. But yeah, I do end up focusing a little bit on if art is a response to nature, a response to self, man, or God, or creations, whatever, you know, whatever's beyond. In the plein air events, I did find myself doing more urban settings, little ash can influenced by the New York artist who, you know, they might have loved Impressionism, but it's like, how is that relevant when you live in such an urban setting?
Setting, yeah.
So that, you know, if it's going to be realism one way, isn't this realism? And I'm actually a suburbanite, so I'm neither urban nor rural. So I like, as much as I like to go paint a mountain, I'm not sure me pimping barns and the Kickapoo River and all those things, even though that was more a vacation thing for me, not my life, as opposed to you know, a Kathy Wheeler who lives out in the middle of a rural, that's her life, you know, and she's presenting her what she sees every day. What I see every day is a little more urban, and for a long time in my life, a little more suburban. So unless you have batting cages and miniature golf courses, things that I actually grew up with, toilet papering houses, these are the things that I could relate to because we did that stuff and it was fun. And we never got caught much.
Huh? But then you have the toilet paper, but then you have these memorial stones, the gravestones. What's going on between the two? What captured your imagination there?
Artistically, there's repeated form. There's it's someone else's art, which is also fun. Don't forget that they mean something to somebody and they really love their craft. There was a running sense of humor because it's called Memorial on the Marsh because I believe that is the La Crosse River's backwater before it leads into the Mississippi River. And like everyone had done a painting of the marsh, so that was like my version of getting the marsh in. La Crosse is freaking beautiful. It's just a beautiful town. It's a little bit morbid, but not really. It wasn't graves. These are production of these, and I didn't realize it until I was almost signing it that it was actually done on 9/11.
Really?
Not a year later, 2 years? No, not a year later. Quite a few years later, because that's about.
Well, we have
it's about 6 years ago. Yeah, I'm getting old. I'm losing track of time. But
but so I sense that you're interested in nature, but you also seem to be interested in patterns.
Mm-hmm.
And there's patterns in your.
And how is that not nature?
No, I mean, but then even patterns like those are actual human constructions, those
right.
gravestones, but they're repeated over and over again, but they're also illuminated by that sunset, which creates an interesting light pattern.
Mm-hmm.
And when you look at any of your cyclone fences, they're catching light too. Do you know what I mean? In color.
Mm-hmm.
And it's repeated pattern.
Mm-hmm.
So there's sort of an organic just love of paint and light and color. That's beyond the nature, or is that what you see in nature and it kind of.
No.
What do you think?
No, none of that. No,
no?
Or all of that. No, I don't know. Yeah, I think you're right, actually. I certainly enjoy things that I think people would pass by, especially in the plein air world. So I like to find things and views. There's a little bit of voyeurism in a lot of the work in the chain link fences. I'm peering through things. I'm like, am I supposed to be here? Is it wrong to be here? This was done in Door County recently.
Which one?
This one right here was where they're working on the firewood, and these guys really love what they do. So this is just a little pair of me peering in right before. I think this was right before they open, when they're loading up the truck and doing it. It's very, very quick, immediate. I did like 4 of these, maybe too many. While I was indoor.
But you feel like you shouldn't be there?
I think the paintings give a little feeling of voyeurism, of intruder, imposter syndrome, or intruder. I'm a little bit of an intruder in some of these paintings.
Okay, that's interesting that you think about.
I'm an outsider. There's a barrier between me and, I'm not included. There's a little bit of father and son pitching and hitting, even though this was actually a sketch.
Okay.
I did enter this, but it was a study for what was going to be a larger work, but weather and tornadoes. And then I finally said, you know what, I kind of like the study anyway, and I entered that. And that was in Jefferson, in Wisconsin, 3 or 4 years ago.
So now, no, I mean, seriously, Troy, do you think, so are you engaged with the idea of these intruding into these 2 people living, or are you also engaged in just like this beautiful purple with the blue next to it and the green, and does that fire you up.
Yeah. Well,
Do you know what I'm saying?
I do feel there's an overemphasis on craft in a lot of the, again, I'm speaking from the plein air world where they talk, like if you see a lot of the demos that a lot of my favorite artists give, they'll talk again and again and again how to do something, but they don't really talk at length about why to do something. What is this painting? And I sometimes feel that the plein air world, at least the one I'm familiar with in Wisconsin, Missouri, Minnesota, Indiana, a little bit, a little bit of the the corn circuit, as I'll call it. Uh, they'll do demos about how to paint, how to mix the paint, light and dark, color, form, shape, all those things, contrapposto, chiaroscuro, sfumato, blending edges, all those things that the four big words I learned one a year when I went to art school, but. But what and why is what's often left kind of floating out there. And
I mean, I know that you're intrigued with nature, but to me, you also seem to be intrigued with paint.
Yeah.
Just paint.
Well, I hope so.
I'm just telling you, maybe this isn't the proper way to interview, but I remember as a child, the first time I got to mix color, it was like, oh, this is so fun. This is so fun. And I get this feeling when I look at these colors that you're just having fun.
Well, there's
mixing the colors.
Well, not just color, it's also mark making. My buddy Paul Gotterstad up there in Green Bay loves to joke about too many notes, too many strokes. And what I would say, what do you think of this painting? And he goes, too many strokes, alluding to Mozart being criticized for too many notes in this. So I'm definitely a mark maker, maybe a drawer, even more than a painter at times. But there's sketching them.
I just feel like I want to touch them. Do you know what I mean? I want to touch the colors. I'm just telling you how I feel.
I don't know if you remember this, but we had whenever you would put like wet paint at a plein air show, you could just tell someone eventually just has to test that thing and go, honey, it actually is wet. It's like, well, it says don't touch them. But yeah, no, it's...
But no, it's like this luscious green.
Yeah.
And the purple that like very...
That piece is actually casein.
Oh, is it?
That's casein. Now, I don't think it...
How would you describe casein for our audience? What would you say that is? That's
milk paint.
Milk paint?
Well, the casein, that I used to mix it myself, but when I went to like Easton, and you're in a hot car in Easton, that's going to go rancid the stuff you make yourself is at risk because of how hot it got there. Or another
100 degrees or something.
Easton is hot. If you've ever,
and Easton is located.
That's in Maryland. That's one of the national shows that I got juried into. Wonderful experience, but so Jack Richardson, they bought Shiva, and so they have and it's actually an emulsion. So it's casein mixed with linseed oil, and of course it is they actually make a bond. Technically.
So what is this?
That is
your casein or the casein from Richardson?
I'm thinking I was probably using the Richardson by then.
The colors are beautiful.
Yeah. Well, and it's...
And then you've got this like murky dark green. It's just I want to touch it.
Yeah.
I'm just telling you.
You can touch it.
No,
I'm just thinking there might be a new market here. It's like, touch the painting.
No.
$3 a piece, you get to touch the painting.
That's part of my attraction with painting. Now, on this end,
I think you might be saying more about you than the painting.
I do like touching things. So anyway, these are like something that you can recognize what they are. But the ones on the far right here
behind you, the three.
Yeah.
They seem to be going in a slightly different direction. I mean, they're kind of an extension of where we're going, but what was your intent there?
Well, you know how you try to go in a different direction and you still end up in the same place when it's you. So, yeah.
Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, are you disagreeing with my heart again?
I can.
The technical difficulties. Cut.
Okay, go ahead.
Well, I do love nature, and I'll be doing more of these. I got second place. Thank you, Judge Hector Acuna, one of my favorite painters. If you ever want to learn about space and dividing up a canvas, take a look at Hector Acuna. This one was done in lacrosse, and I did win second place, or there's a tie kind of.
Which one?
All of them. He hung it on this one, and there was another wonderful judge, was Mr. Mark Anderson. If you ever want to learn value as it applies to color and patience and economy of stroke, look at Mark Anderson. A wonderful painter, Wisconsin. So yeah, I just did kind of influenced by birch, influenced by sumac, and influenced by dying lotus that they have all over the Mississippi, in La Crosse, Wisconsin. This was actually on Goose Island influence.
So what's the one on top? Tell me that again. That one?
I don't want to give it away, but it does make one more or less one figure. But so there was. I have a dear artist friend who likes to do herbs and mushrooms and hunts, and every time we walk, I turn around and she disappears into nature. And I'll turn around and go, this is Beth. Beth, yeah, and she's gone. And sure enough, she's been consumed by the sumac. She's in the water. She's behind the birch. And it's not long before she is out of talking range. And then she reemerges with mushrooms and herbs.
She really knows a lot about this then. So come on. So is this that feeling you get when you're on a walk with her?
Kind of, yeah. The feeling that she disappears, and
because I had the feeling of.
I think if you saw it in black and white, you'd kind of, but we won't go there. We won't talk about that too much, because that's a body of work that I'm gonna have more and more fun with. Stuff that I did in college that I put aside.
But it's just.
And I'm a little fearful that AI is going to take it over when I'm trying to. So I decided I'm going to start doing it at shows, and
see, to me, I feel nature in it, but I also feel energy, and I also feel.
I'll interject on energy.
Yeah, I also feel like grass.
Right. Well, you mentioned also that they're kind of field paintings.
Yeah.
That so instead of having window where here's the trees, here's the water, here's the barn, and if I move the frame, it's going to be a different barn, a different field, a different thing, whatever. And this was kind of like when they're influenced by the American lotus that were pretty at the last level.
Now this is the top. No, that's
bottom.
The bottom one. Okay.
The top one is I want to call them paper birch, not white birch, but
so
really silvery birch.
Huh?
Well, that's a vertical. You can see the verticals in there. And then the sumac was going to be all over, because it is all over. And this is where it was when I entered it, because we are under time constraints, and people have to understand that they're stamped pieces. We're doing them in the field, no photo reference, and then we have to turn them in. So this is about a 2-day body of work where I got to go, and come up with solutions that
And
are.
what kind of paint did you use in these?
These are done. Those are oil.
Those are oil paints.
Yes.
Okay.
And I love to work in the casein and then the oil, but when you are, I was also in danger of it freezing, because if it gets
it was cold. This was just a
so
week
casein, right? Yeah. Well, this was last week. This was this was Sunday.
I feel these I really want to touch.
Wow.
I mean, I really want to just like put my hands over.
Don't say inappropriate things. Don't say inappropriate things. Don't say inappropriate things.
No, seriously.
No, I think that's good. I mean, that's what when you see a bronze sculpture, don't you want to? You do. You want to touch the Rodin. You want to touch. You do want to reach out and touch things. So.
Well, anyway, I mean, I love all of these, but this new, I've always loved field paintings, because to me, there's just something really organic about it. You can almost really want to touch it. I mean, really bad. And when you paint it, you actually are, all the energy is in your hands, and it's just.
Let's go back to energy, because when you talk to people in plein air, it will almost get amazingly redundant. Antoine Remar jokes about that, but even though he comments about it brilliantly, is energy. Some people, they paint the light, and some people, the energy is within what it is. So when you see a whatever it is, a rock face or anything, there's an energy, there's an atomic thing. And sometimes if you can get a feel for that, I would really like that. I don't know if I'm successful for that. And I don't mean to drop names. Stephen Wasaki is another one I think is painting not just the light, but the energy of the item.
What do you think of Van Gogh? People might understand.
Here you go. Yeah, that's a good example. There's this other
that people would all know.
There's this thing that's going on. In that case, it's to the point of almost being the emotional and response also to it. It doesn't, it isn't like just a technical argument for things that are solid, things that are liquid, things that are gas. All the how am I gonna relay that, other than just the idea? Oh, the light hits it. The light does this, and this is. I sometimes. And I don't mean to be critical. I love the plein air artists, but sometimes they talk about the light, and I want to go, are we talking about LIGHT or LITE? Is it? Are we just being superficial, or are we really looking at these objects and seeing them with some?
Well, anyway, I enjoy. So now, based on this direction that you're showing, do you see that with these last three, do you see yourself going into a new place with your work?
It's a new place, but it's an old place, because I think it's some of the things I left off when I was going into art school. So, and I don't mean to, like what, because I kind of backed into plein air, and then I stopped. You kind of go along with the program a little bit. I've always been an outlier, I hope, a little bit to what we're doing, so that is so there's at least a discussion about is this plein air, is this a direction of this kind of working in the field, and it's like, well, why am I not bringing some other thinking or other avenues of myself to it? And again, Wisconsin artist Beth Ann Moran. There's some amazing painters who seem to not only do it in the plein air, but they bring the whole self and their whole idea to the table. And sometimes I feel that I was limiting what I was doing based on the rules and the construct and what this is this okay, and it's and as I look at as you look at your age and how much time do I have left to communicate just how what we're sharing ideas. Have I shared enough ideas? I want to share more. I want to share more ideas.
Well, I just feel that you've always had those elements that I see in these 3 paintings, some of them in these other paintings, but there you seem like, I'm just going to do it. I'm just going to really do it. Really.
Yes.
I really feel that way about what you're doing. And I'm really excited. I'm really excited about it. I really am. And as I said, I like field paintings, and I'm kind of a eclectic in my taste. Not that it's about me, but I don't know. I really am excited about what you're doing there. I mean, and it's kind of like, for Wisconsin, it's a little on the edge. What do you think?
It's only in the plein air world. I mean,
yes.
It's you show this as a normal art. The plein air artificially creates a criteria which it can protect, and make arguments within a smaller training wheel type of thing. Yet it's a wonderful place to maybe display work where you're going to push boundaries here and there. If we're not pushing the boundaries a little bit, I'm like, why are we doing this again?
Think of Turner. He started out kind of stayed, doing these and he really pushed the limits of what painting was in that time and he inspired a lot of the Impressionists.
Sure did, and Constable also.
And so you,
English,
in a sense, you could, the painters in Wisconsin who are the more established painters who are working their heart out can really open the eyes of us, all the painters, and help us move into a new space in our heads. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Sure. I look at our leadership, the Shelby Keefes and color and explosion, there's if we're only, I mean, I have other influences too there, you're going to Turner, and people will often ask me, who are your influences? And really most of my influences, even though I might be aware of Van Gogh and the Impressionist and Pizarro and or Renaissance and Baroque, Caravaggio, but most of my influence are actually closer to me are the people that I know. And the stuff I do really is stuff that I'm bouncing off the people that I lived and grew with. And when I think about it, I think these people are actually way more influential on me. And I might be getting it secondhand because they might have been influenced by Turner, Constable, or the Ashcan artists, Salone, Glockens. Or Diebenkorn, late, whatever the era is, Klein. But it's knowing you guys. I've looked at your paintings, and that's where I looked at Shelby Keefe's paintings. I looked at Knockgrinder's paintings. I looked at I got more doing that than I ever did really looking at a book. And I guess when you go to when you actually are confronted by a Monet or or more intellectual. Who am I thinking of? Well, God, I can go all over the place here. But when you actually look at a Van Gogh or Van Gogh, it does hit you, and you do see it. But if I was really to think about myself, it's my influences really are the people around me. now you start doing Easton and stuff like that, and you start talking to Lon Lauer, Tim Kelly, um, 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 just I mean I can go all over with some of those artists, Bresky, Carl, and you can get pretty excited. I mean, you can get pretty excited about what they're doing and what their ability. Their craft is profound. I like creativity over craft, whereas a lot of people, a lot of the shows I'm in, I sense that they're more craft first, creativity second. Now, and I realize depending what we're talking about, they're one and the same. Depending on what we're, yeah. But I'm thinking, Charlie Hunter, there's, when you start to meet and talk to these people, they're pretty solid with, what they're doing and why they're doing it.
You have a spiritual aspect to your work, something that goes deep into your spirit.
Interview me in a year
Okay.
and see where this is going, because some of the stuff that I was doing in, I mean, this is called My Stairway to Heaven.
Mm-hmm.
My stairway is blocked, and it's a freaking chain link fence in the way of me getting to, because I was going to paint the stars up on this building, but the police made them, because the kids kept going up there. And instead of seeing it as me doing work that was personal, some of the people, I don't know who exactly, because I had not a lot of supporters have come out of the woodwork, but thought that I was saying they named it in plein air, because when people got out and painted, a critic, a French writer, wrote something to the effect of, and much of the work is done, how do I say, in plein air, because a lot of it is done out of doors. And when it reemerges in America, they clung into that word, and now they cause a separation between just painting from life. We're all getting out of our studios. We're all not painting in our comfort zones when we're doing these shows. And to me, it doesn't matter if you're in a cafe, if you're in a boxing match, like the Ashcan artist, and because it's the word. And when they learned the word, they couldn't change it. Well, you're the one that took the roast beef, cut off the ends, because you didn't have a pot big enough, your head, stuck it and cooked it, okay? And you cut off the rest of it, and the rest of it was just painting from life. Paint from life. When my sister died, and when my sister passed away, when Renee died, part of the story I didn't tell you is that Renee is the one who signed me up at Cedarburg, and without asking me, and said, "Oh, by the way, you paint in Cedarburg," and I won third place and went and did it. So it just was like, it's just like a bubble pop when.
Easton, I think that you can, if it's raining, you can go inside and paint a bar if you want to. Can you, or no?
It wins best of show. They go into the boathouses and do the workers working on the boats, and that's all inside.
But
it's the only place.
It's just not painted from photograph. Okay, now you're not going to tell me about what you're going to do in the vision of what you're, but you're not going to tell me about what you hope to do this coming year. What your vision is, what's in your secret place, or you think that should be kept in undercover?
No, I'm going. I write a little bit, so I need to finish that.
Oh, you're writing.
It's a book about me, written by me, and I'm the characters, and I play the love interest all the way around. It's enough. It's enough about me. What do you think of me? Kind of a story. No, it's about art, and it's about growing up in art, and that needs to be done, because that's been sitting there forever, and I need to publish it and get rejected, so that I can write the next one about being rejected. I have some studio work, but it really does involve being out in the field, and then it's a back and forth.
Well, Constable painted that way, didn't he? I mean, didn't he paint like
I think-
plein air studies?
Am I wrong to say those are the English guilds?
Yeah.
Okay, so this is Turner, Constable, and who
Yeah.
else was in that?
I mean, a
Which
lot
of
people-
course highly influenced the Barbizon school, right? So and into the what's the forest? The French forest where they all were painted, which is what the quote original plein air artists were. None of them used the word plein air, by the way. It takes 60 years before that becomes a common way of describing kind of what they were doing. I say with some accuracy, and if I say it loud, I'm even more right or incorrect. Meaning I'm not sure, but yeah, I have some work that I want to get done because I'm starting to look at the life clock and go, well, how am I going to be relevant? And I am a little bit nervous that some of the ideas I had, AI can do. And it won't be the same. Don't get me wrong, because the human touch and the human experience is, but the tool might be like, oh, this was done this way, and it kind of undercuts the knowledge that I think I had to do it live. So, juggling versus animated juggling. So I'm a little worried about that, or at least taking note of that. Like, what does that mean for the stuff I didn't do that I was going to do, that I still got to do, want to do? So I'd like to get those done because, and as you know, when you do plein air, and in the beginning, you're a 5 painting a day person, and then you're 4 paintings a day, and then you're 2 in the morning and 2 in the later, and then you're like, well, I'm good for 1 in the morning and 1, and it starts to get like, can I stand here and do this long? Brian Sindler, mentioned how long can he keep working, and I get arthritis out there, Troy. I can't tell because his paintings are so freaking beautiful.
I know. I interviewed him. He was wonderful.
Right. There's more influence there. Brian.
I haven't really seen
Diane Wausau is a big influence.
Well, so it's somewhat of a mystery what you're going to be doing this next year, but we'll keep an eye on it, and
whatever it is, it will be me. It's gonna. It's.
And is there anything else you'd like to share with the group?
Yeah. What other names haven't I dropped? Antoine Romar. There's just people I love. No, and if just get out and paint, and I think it is. I think it's a painting from life. This is going to sound really weird, but you really kind of feel like you're living when you're painting from life. When you're on Goose Island and the eagles are flying by and the pelicans are coming in droves, and then it gets dark and you start to hear, what the hell is that? Is that coyotes? And you realize it's barred owls. Who cooks for you? And they're like,
you feel in touch.
And then the fires go on, and you see the firefighter. You see the hunters going out on their skiffs, and they're all the kids are all getting all geared up. You feel like you're really, really part of the experience, and that's also true when you're doing when there are people who are doing firewood in Peninsula Park. I feel the same thing when the kids have just toilet papered something, and you can just feel
feel part of the energy.
Yeah, you're just sharing. All right.
Well, I want to thank you very much for doing this with me. It was really very precious.
Do you still want to touch my paintings?
I still want to touch just your paintings.
There's a pickup bar line in a bar.
Oh.